In this one, I'm going to make some giant Cosmogoyfs. Let's take a look. Alright, I got a really fun one for all of you today. I'm going to keep this intro a little bit short. This is a deck that I've actually been playing in my free time for like the last week and a half, slowly tweaking it here and there, and I think I'm finally at a point where I'm ready to show it off to you. Now, I did do a quick poll on my YouTube channel, and 66% of you said that you want to see off-meta decks. Well, this Sultai deck definitely meets that criteria. Now, let's talk about the creatures in the deck because that's the most interesting part. In the intro, I already said we're playing Cosmogoyf. Cosmogoyf is a black and a green for a star 1+ star. It's a weird card. It says Cosmogoyf's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. This card actually gets out of control really fast. I've seen the Cosmogoyf get over 20 power in several games. And the way we're doing that is, well, we're playing the Abhorrent Oculus. This is a 2 and a blue 5/5 flying eye, but it has an additional cost. It says you must exile 6 cards from your graveyard to cast the Abhorrent Oculus. Then, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Manifest a Dread. This card is insanely powerful, and a lot of the times we try to cheat this one onto the field, but we are actually paying the cost. Honestly, we're legit people. By paying that cost of exiling 6 cards, we are going to be growing our Cosmogoyf every time. If we exile a couple of if we cast out a couple of Oculuses throughout a game, the Cosmogoyf going to go 6, 12, 18 power. Other things are going to be exiled, and that's how we get the Cosmogoyf over 20 power. We are also playing 4 copies of Overlord of the Baelmerk. This card is going to allow us to put these creature cards into our graveyard. It mills 4 when it enters the battlefield, and then we can bring them back because it allows us to return a non-avatar creature card from our graveyard to our hand. It is also a 5/5. It does attack from time to time, but we mostly care about it for that impending 5 ability. And then the last creature that's in the deck is Lazav, probably a creature you have never seen before. This is a shape-shifting detective, a 2/3 for a blue and a black, and it says when Lazav attacks, exile target card from a graveyard, then investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you may have Lazav become a copy of a creature card exiled with it until the end of turn. A lot of the time we are going to be exiling things from our opponent's graveyard, especially if those are things that they want to recur, but it's not uncommon for us to be exiling things from our graveyard because we want to be growing our Cosmogoyf. This is only equal to the number of cards I own in exile. So exiling our opponent's graveyard doesn't really help the Cosmogoyf grow. It doesn't at all. Not really at all. But Lazav can help us do that by exiling our own things, and we can also exile dead Cosmogoyfs and then sack a clue to turn Lazav into a giant Cosmogoyf, Lazav, shapeshifter, whatever you want to say. So that's kind of the creature kill our opponent plan. Now, how do we pull that off? Well, we're going to be putting cards into our graveyard with our Overlord, as I already mentioned, and then we're going to be putting cards into our graveyard with this beautiful Sultai card, Awaken the Honored Dead. The first mode removes a creature or removes a non-land permanent from our opponent's board. It's very flexible, great removal. Then it's going to mill 3 cards, which helps us fill our graveyard. The third mode is also very important. We may discard a card, and then we can return target creature card or land card from our graveyard, a good way to get back some of our threats that may have been destroyed or milled in other ways. Then we got our removal package, Strategic Betrayal, Bitter Triumph, discards a card, and Stab. All of these are just, good, solid black removal. And then we have some utility, more ways to fill our graveyard with Dredger's Insight. This mills the top 4 cards. We can put a creature or land card from a mill that is milled among them into our hand, and then we get the added bonus of gaining a little bit of life whenever a creature is removed from the graveyard. We don't have any artifacts in the deck, so that point is not important for this deck. We have Rakshas's Bargain. Look at the top 4 cards, put 2 in our hand, put 2 in the graveyard. You can see the theme here. We want to be putting things into our hand and also into our graveyard simultaneously. And then once we've established our board, Repulsive Mutation is a pretty great counterspell. It allows us to dump extra mana into a creature that maybe could end the game by putting +1/+1 counters on something, and then it just, counters a target spell based on our highest creature's power, and typically we have some pretty powerful creatures on the board. In the lands, it's your pretty typical land base. The only thing that's maybe a little bit interesting is the one copy of Restless Cottage, 4/4 black green horror creature when we turn it on. And then we're also playing, nope, I removed it. This is the only creature land. I did have 2 in the deck, but I removed the Dimir one because I felt we only needed 1. Otherwise, that is the deck. We're going to see how it plays out. It's just a whole lot of fun to play. It's not the most consistent or powerful deck. Actually, it is pretty consistent. It's not the most powerful deck, but it is a super fun and entertaining strategy to play. So hop into some games and see how it goes. See you over there. Editor Matt coming in. I just finished a whole bunch of games, and I actually did something that I never do when I'm recording these videos. Usually I just play 7 games all the way straight through, and those are the 7 games that go into the video. Well, the way the games ended up coming out this evening was a little bit weird, and so what I kind of decided to do halfway through filming all these games was just to record a whole bunch of games, and I'm going to shuffle them all up, and I'm going to put the best ones in. This deck, it's more for entertainment purposes. It's not winning a ton. It's like 50% deck. It's fine. But I would rather give interesting games to watch instead of running into life gain and such. So that's the situation. That's what you're going to watch in the gameplay videos coming up. Okay, I'm excited to show this one to you. This one it's just a whole lot of fun. When the Cosmogoyf starts getting out of hand, we have a good time. Now this opening hand is a bit rough, but we have a whole bunch of removal. If the opponent is on a creature deck, we'll be doing pretty well. One awkward thing about current mana, okay, is that we don't really have access to black mana on turn 1, unless we draw the 1 swamp in the deck. A very, very awkward situation for this deck because we have our stab. It would be great to be able to play it out, but either we have a tapped black source or we have verges which don't produce black. This is only producing black if we control an island or a swamp. So getting turn 1 mana is actually very... turn 1 black mana is very hard in this deck. It has made me kind of think, should I really be playing... I don't need to cast that yet. Should I really be playing stab? But it has kind of proven itself to be quite useful, especially in matchups where we have creatures that are growing very quickly. Okay, maybe I should have stopped one of those things, but yeah, I could have stopped them from gaining a little bit of life. It's fine. I was kind of dirtling a little bit, wondering if they were going to play out a cat that was going to grow. And then I had to cough, and that distracted me for a second there. I'm still fighting off this pesky cold. This thing is just lingering, and I cannot seem to deal with it. Anyways, let's put out a Lazav. The Lazav is going to serve as a pretty good blocker, a 2/3 body for 2 mana. Honestly, has come in clutch in a number of games where it just gets on the field and the opponent can't do anything about it. Or they can. And and then I eat my words, I suppose. Alright, well, we drew a land, but it is an unfortunate tap land. I suppose we could go out with the Dredger's Insight, but we could also Strategic Betrayal. That'll get rid of probably the Rune Lurk bat. Sure. I think it's probably the Dredger's Insight, though, because I need to set up a potential Oculus next turn. If I take a card from the graveyard, it makes it a little bit awkward to put out the Abhorrent Oculus, but I think if I grab the island, I can cast a removal spell plus the Abhorrent Oculus next turn. I also have, you know, we need mana, so that'll be an okay approach. But I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing, is Bitter Triumph on something with the island, and then Abhorrent Oculus will have 6 cards in there, and that'll stem their attack. They are up to 37, so that's a problem. We'll use a Strategic Betrayal. This is the least valuable removal spell that I have right now. I'd rather use the Bitter Triumph on the Leonin Vanguard on the following turn, assuming that they can't attack anything. Now we are going to gain a little bit of life. Unfortunately, I did have to exile my... I did have to exile one of my Cosmogoyfs and an Overlord. I don't like exiling the Cosmogoyfs because we do have a lot of recursion. For example, with Awaken the Honored Dead, it's a great way to get something back. But it is what it is. Sometimes you got to put out a 5/5. Are you kidding me? All right, all right. I see how it is, opponent. That's fine. They get in for 2. But I think we've kind of run them down. And now I get to throw out this card and get back my Oculus. It's going to come in tapped, but hey, I'd rather have an Oculus that's tapped than not have an Oculus at all. They gain a little life. They're going to gain a ton of life. Thankfully, they haven't found their nasty creatures. I'd prefer not to attack. Dread is going to come in tapped, but that right there is a 7/8 Cosmogoyf, if you didn't notice that, because we do have 6 cards in exile right now. And if they continue to draw so poorly, we'll be in good shape. All right. In our bin right now, we do have the other Oculus, so I could save this Swamp to discard later, but I am going to be drawing with the Rakshasa. I think it's fine probably just to do this. So we'll attack with both. They choose not to block our 7/8 Cosmogoyf, and then we slam in. You know what? I am going to put out the Swamp. That allows me to bargain. Love this. It allows me to bargain and Bitter Triumph something this turn. We are at 6 life, though. So I do have to be a little bit careful about that. Wow, the opponent's draw, admittedly, that's bad. They are struggling. It doesn't matter what I grab. So we'll grab a land, we'll grab the Strategic Betrayal, and that means we'll be able to get rid of their board this turn. Okay, yeah, they see what's happening. We were going to be able to turn up the Oculus, we were going to be able to make a whole bunch of manifests, and we were just going to take over that game. I think a little bit lucky in that the opponent really drew the bad end of their deck. No card that grows. The cat. I always forget its name. It's the most popular card, but I forget its name. All right, game 2. Another thing that I have neglected to mention about this deck, and I'm sure it's going to come up, is that this deck is very good at almost milling itself out. So I do have to be a little bit careful about that. Opening hand, I think I'll keep it. This also happens a lot. I don't know what it is about this deck, but I have the wild tendency to draw 2 lands in my opener. But we are usually able to dig pretty deep with cards. The Dredger's Insight's very good at getting into the deck, and so I'm not too worried about meeting mana requirements. I don't like doing this, but I don't want them to have access to a 5 CMC dinosaur next turn. This is looking to be a dinosaur deck, and we are off to kind of a slow start. We are on the draw. We're going to maybe be in a little bit of trouble if they're able to slam some, Carnosaurs or something like that. But maybe they're on a mono green version of the deck because they didn't grab... Yeah, they didn't grab red mana. That's really surprising to me. So I have 2 choices. I guess I have a couple of choices. I could go out with the Baelmerk, I could go out with the Strategic Betrayal, and I could go out with Lazov. If I go out with the Betrayal, it gets rid of their 6 CMC drop, which is probably okay. I don't like this. I think my position's really bad here, but we'll do that. Maybe keep them away from turning on the Lumbering Wagon, and I think I'm going to keep the Awaken the Honor Dead because I need to be able to remove whatever giant thing they throw out here. I'm not going to be able to remove that though. That's real bad. Ward 2. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, dinosaurs. Actually, somebody had just mentioned that they use dinosaurs to get to Mythic in one of the comments on a video. And, heck yeah, maybe dinosaurs are a thing. This feels real bad. What am I gonna do? Get rid of the lumber wagon and get hit for 5, and they're going to be able to play out something for 7 or 8 mana next turn. Uh-oh. Look at Dinosaurs rocking us. Whoa! What's this thing? The Skullspore Nexus. I actually wanted to buy this card in paper about 3 weeks ago when I was at a shop upgrading my Dinosaur EDH deck, but it was too expensive, so I cheaped out and didn't buy it. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures, so it was 5 less, whatever. Okay, what does it say? Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness that is equal to the power of those creatures. Oh. What do I do? I think we're dead. So I can kill it, but then it's going to come back. So I suppose I put out the... No, I can't even kill it now because I forgot that it had ward. It's so bad. So now the only way for me to stay alive is to throw a chump blocking Cosmogoyf in front of it. Alright, I love what the opponent's doing though. This is such a cool deck. And it's going to double target creature's power until the end of turn. It doesn't give trample though. They can make this a big old boy though. That ward too was massive for me. Oh, they could have fought. Well, I'm sure they have a plan here, but they definitely could have fought the Cosmogoyf with the Hulking Raptor with the Archmage's second ability here, and then the game would have been over. But they're giving us a moment. All right. I suppose I'll throw away, you know what, this thing's never going to do anything, so we'll throw that away, and we'll get the Abhorrent Oculus, and amazingly, like, I can stay alive. Am I gonna keep struggling? Am I gonna struggle? Not the Bailmerk. This thing. Okay. All right, fine. Let's keep struggling. I honestly, I just kind of want to see this token on the field. Maybe they won't attack. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm also just kind of curious to see what their top end is if they're playing like Galtas. Monstrous Emergence. I like our opponent. Our opponent is playing cards I have never seen before. Sure. All right. We'll block the small one. Cool stuff. I don't mind going down when you're facing off against a dino horde. All right. Next one. Try not to get slammed down by some more dinosaurs. Maybe dinosaurs are a thing. I've actually encountered them a few times, and each time they're kind of, you have that opinion like, huh, dinosaurs can do that? Every single time I face them, it's always that way. All right, now this hand, kind of looking neat. We find our black mana source. That's awfully nice. Now, do I want the untapped source or the surveil one? I think I go this way. Next turn probably is going to be another Dredger's Insight. We are against probably artifacts, so not such a great situation for our Cosmogoyf or our Dreads, but the Abhorrent Oculus could end up being quite powerful. And if they're not able, don't want that. If they're not able to get something going this turn, maybe we can hold up a Repulsive Mutation in the future. I really think the Cosmogoyf is probably not going to do very well in this matchup specifically because they're going to have the Star Cage, and I'm terrified of Star Cage. Right now we're kind of hoping that they don't have a turn 3 synthesizer. They always seem to have a turn 3 synthesizer, don't they? An Authority of the Consuls I'm kind of okay with, and an Iron Crag I'm also okay with. So we are going to be a little bit shields down for a turn, but it's what we gotta do. The Cosmogoyf, I'm like really not seeing a lot of value in it. I think that Overlord might end up being a little bit of a better card to keep available for the future. And what are we getting here? I guess we'll put the stab underneath it. I don't think the stab's going to do too much for us. All right, opponent, it's up to you. This is the turn. If we can avoid some disaster, that's actually not the... It's not the worst thing. So now I can play out the Cosmogoyf. The Cosmogoyf is going to be a 7/8, and then I can hold up the the repulsive mutation. I don't think... You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to put this... I'm going to pay 2. It doesn't matter. This game is not going to be about me making sure to stay at a healthy life total. They're either going to have me dead or not, I think, in this case. They're going to stun, though. That's cute. I like that play. So, yeah. So I did play the Jeskai artifact deck last time, and I did have a little moment, I believe, where like the Cryogen Relic ability, sacrifice, put a stun counter on up to one target tapped creature, threw me off. It was a tapped creature. But yeah, it's kind of a synergy with Authority of the Console is really interesting and neat. I like that. So, Memory Guard... Oh my gosh, the opponent is not doing anything that I thought they were doing. I'll allow a Memory Garden onto the field. Sure. And a second Cryogen Relic. You got it, boss. You got it. So they're tapped out. That's awesome, because it actually gives me a window to do my Rakshasha's Bargain. I'm really glad I put out that Watery Grave. Now, do I need... Next turn, it's okay. I can... How many cards are in the graveyard? Not enough cards are in the graveyard. So I was going to say I want to put out the Surveil land because I have only needs for 5 mana. I still think it's going to be the Surveil land. Okay. Yeah. The Surveil land was actually the perfect choice. Oh, the Restless Cottage is really good. So I actually, if I put the Restless Cottage in the graveyard, I can put out my Abhorrent Oculus and hold up Mutation. If I don't put it in the graveyard, I can't do that. I'm going to do that. I have 2 mutations. I think it's a matter of making sure I can counter their next 2 big things. And then once this Cosmogoyf, if this Cosmogoyf ever is allowed to untap because of the Cryogen Relic, maybe not allowing it to do that. We'll see. Okay, let's find another Cosmogoyf. Oculus. Or another Oculus. Ooh. They are just going to use the Cryogen Relic right off the hop? No. Okay. Well, we lose one of our mutations. So we're actually... These are the only 2 left in the deck. We are only playing 3, not the full play set of 4. They are getting... Well, it doesn't matter. This is going to be countering anything unless its controller pays 13. We're fine. They're leaving it on the field. This is making me think they actually don't have... They might not have Star Cages in the deck. Potentially. A second Authority. Okay. And what the heck? If you would create 1 or more artifact tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional map token. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. Okay. Somebody tell me if it was wrong to allow that to happen. I think it was fine. I don't see what that thing's going to be doing to me. Okay. So, we will strategically betray our opponent. We'll get rid of their graveyard. We'll get rid of their 1 blocker. They only have 1 mana available, so we get to attack in for a healthy 9. And then we have 2 repulsive mutations sitting here. We're going to be putting out another little boy. And they got to do a lot with, what, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 potential mana. But they have to get through 2 counter spells. Okay. I'm justified in countering this. Always be careful with your Repulsive Mutation. Repulsive Mutation is one of those cards that I constantly make a mistake with when I cast it out. I don't target the spell to counter it because it requires you to do a bunch of little things. There we go. We got a Goyf up to 13. We beat a pretty neat rogue artifact deck. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, Cosmogoyf is awesome. Playing World Waker Helm. Okay, cool. QTB this time. Let's see what QTB has for us. 2 lands in our opening hand, and we have a truck ton of removal. No way to make our Cosmogoyf bigger. Do you keep a hand like this? This is, yeah, okay, fine. You know what? I've been running into a lot of life gain today. Maybe we'll run into more aggro decks. I think in general, if you had to make a choice, like in best of 1, you go into the match, you don't know what your opponent's on, you have to kind of do a quick check. Is my opponent playing aggro, mid-range, or control? Probably it's safe to assume that they are playing aggro most of the time. I am going to hold the stab. I'm not going to stab the Llanowar Elf against my better judgment. I think this is going to be landfall. That's my bet. This is a Bristly Bill. Oh, it's a Hydra. Love stabbing me a Hydra. Get rid of that. Okay. Maybe I should have Bitter Triumphed it, because now I am in a weird spot. But I think it's still worth doing the Dredger's Insight here. Load up the graveyard a little bit. Get a land. I think we have a Cosmogoyf here. Probably one Cosmogoyf is going to be enough. We have enough removal to keep their board relatively clean. And if they stumble on lands a little bit, we could be in a good spot. There's a Traveling Chocobo. Land off the top. Land from their hand. Okay, so the top of their library, not a land. So now it's probably prudent to get rid of the Traveling Chocobo, but I don't need to do it at instant speed. Do I need to be able to kill 2 things? It doesn't matter. Both of these are tap lands, so I am stuck only killing 1 thing. Sometimes the game makes it easy. I don't have any blue mana, so I actually desperately need to keep that on the top of my library. Even though I don't have any blue cards, as soon as I draw a Abhorrent Oculus, I'm going to be wanting to throw it out on the field, of course. So, what do you got for me? Mossborn Hydra's pretty good. Do I hit the Traveling Chocobo now? Sure. Pay 3 life, I think it's fine. It's going to be 3 life, get hit by the Traveling Chocobo, or that. Maybe they had a land on the top of the library. They were going to try to play it out with the Mossborn Hydra on the field. That's where my head's at, killing the Traveling Chocobo in response. They might have Snakeskin Veil, because they tend to have Snakeskin Veil. But do they? Okay. So it looks like they're trying to protect the Hydra with the Snakeskin Veil instead of protecting the Chocobo. So what's the plan now? The plan is going to be Strategic Betrayal. They will sacrifice, they will pay 1 mana, or they'll bank the mana here and hold up the... Yeah, okay. We're fine. We're fine, I think. Oh, they just let it go. Okay, so their Mossborn Hydra is available to destroy. We'll pay the 3 life again. I think 6 cards in the graveyard, that's fine. I'm going to keep both of these cards in hand, and I'm going to use the Surveil land to try to find something yummy. You know what? The Overlord's pretty good. I actually can just cast out the Overlord next turn, and then we can really start attacking in, digging deep. Very fortunate to keep a hand with so much removal. That's pretty good, though. They're going to be thinning their deck quite a bit now with this Escape Tunnel, because they'll be able to play it out from the graveyard an additional time here, so they'll just get a whole bunch of forests out of their deck. Where are these wild rides coming from? That's weird to me. I didn't see them mill things into the graveyard, but okay. So Ice Till Explorer, milling, and we are going to... So I could... No. We'll put out the Overlord for the full 5. It's fine. I was thinking about doing the Impending. Wow. Okay. Desperately need to find... we desperately need to find this Abhorrent Oculus. If you don't find an Abhorrent Oculus, your Cosmogoyf doesn't do anything. Maybe there's a flaw in this deck's design. Perhaps. Maybe. Okay. Okay, an escape tunnel. They get more land. Oh, that's right. Okay, I was wondering why they were milling things. So this card does have another thing. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, mill a card. So they are throwing things in the bin. That's where these wild rides went. I just didn't see any animation of cards going in, and that's why I was getting a little bit confused. I guess because they are harmonized cards, they just don't show them going in for whatever reason. Now, they don't have a way. Okay. So we attack in with the Overlord, and the Overlord is going to mill another 5 cards, possibly find us our first Oculus. We do have 4 still in the deck, right? Yeah, nothing's been milled. Come on, really? Okay, it's a Lazov. Lazov starts milling stuff, and we get in for 5. That's cool. Put in a second Watery Grave. You know what? We're just going to flood out the field. I'm going to keep 1 Goyf back to make them a little bit apprehensive. Maybe they'll think I have a little bit of removal open. Probably not the case. They won't think that. They probably stop to read Lazov. I don't think many people see this card. It's cool. I really like Lazov. I was very impressed. When I first saw the deck had it in there, I was like, this card? Really? We're going to be playing this guy? But after using him, a lot of fun. I have a good time with Lazov. So the opponent is actually milling a lot of their good cards. They milled a Traveling Chocobo. They milled a Tifa Lock card. I wonder if that is actually hurting them and they're not finding any of their threats by milling things away. I think it's safe to attack in with the Lazov. I just had an idea. Wow, I missed again. Okay, we'll grab this. Go to next. Yep. Okay, 7 damage at their face. What a weird game. What a weird game. Then we're going to crack this. I'm going to turn... Oh, wait. No. If I turn... I was going to say I'm going to turn Lazov into a Mossborn Hydra, and that would have been a disaster because it would have been a 0-0. Okay, never mind. I had the idea that I would be able to get landfall triggers on the Lazov. And I thought that would be the coolest thing, because then I could start growing him with my landfall. Yeah, dumb. I don't know, maybe I should have gotten a Traveling Chocobo instead, and then maybe playing lands off the top of the library. Maybe that's the best way to go. But we got our army of 0-1 Cosmogoyfs against the opponent who's on a landfall deck that can't find any threats for some reason. They do... You know, one thing I have been neglecting is that they do have Wild Ride, and I might actually be dead here. If they put out a Hydra now, they can make the Hydra massive, and they can Wild Ride it and destroy us. So, I have this problem where I narrate my death, and I really should stop doing that. Do I want to put it out for the full 5? Can you believe this? 28 cards, we still haven't found our Oculus. I think it's probably fine to put it out for the 5. We do have 3 open mana. Surely there's an Oculus coming off the top here. Can you believe that? Wow. Okay. Now I think I regret putting it out for full 5. Okay. We'll grab the Traveling Chocobo this time. Maybe I should have been grabbing the Wild Rides. Both times, probably Wild Rides. There's the Oculus. But I still think I'm dead. I think I'm probably dead next turn. I was a little bit too late on the uptake for lethal. I didn't really realize what the opponent was up to. And now I'm dead. Okay, I think it doesn't matter. We put this out, the Cosmogoyfs grow into 6/7s. Finally, we find the Abhorrent Oculus. It took us 20 cards, or 40 cards to find it. Put out our last land. And just hope that they don't have enough damage to go through us. That's crazy. There's still 3 more in the last 18. This actually turned out to be a really interesting game. I really wish I were smarter and I had seen what the opponent was working. I'm assuming that's what the opponent's doing, is that they're waiting for an OTK turn where they just put out something giant and grow it massive with all this mana that they have sitting here. They have a ton of mana triggers. If they end up getting a Chocobo, they don't even need a Chocobo. But maybe they've drawn just as poorly as we have. Okay, there's a Chocobo. Now the Chocobo does not have trample. The only one I'm afraid of is Tifa and the Hydra. Okay, there's our Wild Ride. Is this all they had? Surely they could have done better than this. That they've used their 1 red source. They could potentially go get another. No, they can't go get another red source because they have. I have no idea. That was a wild game. I know not a lot was happening, but I think what was actually happening underneath the hood was just how horribly our decks were treating both of us, not giving us an Oculus, not giving our opponent any. I mean, I guess they milled a couple of threats, but surely one, and I have a Hydra underneath me. That's their first Bristly Bill. Yeah, their deck, the top 30 of their deck was horrid. Sorry, opponent. Gonna keep going, playing more games this time against Zach. And we get to go first again. We got our 2 mana opening special. It's fine. We have our Oculus, we have our Lazav, we have a little removal. Okay. Looks good to me. We'll put out the Dimir land first to make them think we're on Dimir Bounce or whatever it's called and make them worry about that. They are on Jeskai. This is our first time against Jeskai tonight. So quick Lazav to start getting in for 2 damage. We'll see what they have to deal with that. Okay. Just attack in. Maybe it's Rakshas's Bargain this turn. Sure. Use your Get Lost on our Lazav. That's fine. I will have green, blue, and black mana. That's okay. If they pass with mana up, do I try to play out the Rakshasa? Sure. We're going to have to fight through the counters at some point. If they... It's a negate. I was kind of expecting No More Lies. That's the card? But they had a negate for us. Okay. Well, let's put the Cosmogoyf onto the field and then start using these maps. See if we draw into lands or at least find something for the top of our deck. Strategic Betrayal maybe is okay. It's possible that... Oopsie. It's possible that they might be using their graveyard at some point this game. But I think I'm a little bit more comfortable just putting it in the graveyard so that we can eventually build up to an Oculus. That's a fantastic draw. Okay, let's get in. Am I brave enough to get in for 2 or 1? No. What I should have done... No, we weren't doing that. I was going to say I should have played out the Oculus first. But not this turn. That's next turn. This is not an untapped source. So we'll play the Overlord. They 3 steps ahead the Overlord. Wowzers. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that card. Dredger's Insight would be nice in hand right now, but... Okay, opponent struggling on lands. So we Dredger's Insight. We mill enough cards, probably. What an opponent. You know what? I'm at the point where I'm actually just going to throw out an Awakened Honored Dead. Okay, here's the plan. We paid 3 mana to put Awaken the Honored Dead in the graveyard. It's actually genius. It's a next level plan, because now we have 6 cards in our graveyard, and now I can play out the Oculus, and I can exile 6 cards, growing my Cosmogoyf into a 7/8, and I knew I was going to draw the protective spell here, the repulsive mutation, so now my opponent can't clean my board. I mean, sometimes you just got to play 5D chess. Magic's a hard game, and sometimes you don't realize that cards like Awaken the Honored Dead say not up to 1 target non-land permanent, and they make you destroy something. Whatever. What a trash game. Sure. Is that how we say his name? The Standard Bearer. We've got 2 lands. Hey, they are good lands. They give us all of our mana, but we don't have anything that fills our graveyard. Still, I think I'm going to try it. This one might be a little bit risky, but we're on the play. We just need 1 good draw. We need a Baelmerk, we need a Dredger's Insight, something like that, and then we can really fire off this deck, I think. This hand. Let's see what the opponent's on. They got some pretty cool sleeves over there. Those are rad. Okay, opponent playing out that. Sure. So are they on life gain? I've been seeing a lot of Orzhov life gain lately. Just kind of seems to be a thing nowadays. But we'll throw out the Lazov, get him on the field. Opponent's probably reading the card because nobody knows what this card does. And they put out a tap land. Okie dokie. So we'll get in with Lazov. Lazov doesn't have any food, unfortunately, but I think that is fine. And I'm gonna pay 2 life. I'm gonna hold up the Rakshasha's Bargain. And if I have an opening, I'm going to go in with that. Even if I don't have an opening, I think we're still going to risk throwing this out. They are an Esper deck, so very high chance that they have some kind of counter magic. But if they counter this, then the Lazov can get in, start eating things. Wow. And cool. And actually grew my Cosmogoyf. That's neat. All right. So in we eat the No More Lies. We create a clue. Probably going to be cracking the clue. And we don't want that Verge, so we start filling our graveyard ever so slowly. Pass the turn to the opponent. Maybe Lazov has to go all the way by himself this game. A Meringue River Regent. Yes. Wish I could have countered that with a Repulsive Mutation, but not in hand. Drawing 3 cards, they're fixing their mana. They had a Capital City, not a card that I see very often, just, okay. Kind of neat. Don't hate that. We draw land, and Cosmogoyf. Okay, so we are still quite far away from getting a good Goyf on the field, but we'll throw that one into the graveyard. Oh, they're a mill deck, which means that they're going to be able to wipe us out, and that also means that I really wish I had my creature land, but I don't. I haven't found my creature land yet. I shouldn't have put the land on the field, I don't think. Okay, well, that's fine. Overlord, we will dig. Hey, there's the creature land. Give me the creature land. Oh. Okay, we'll grab the Oculus. Unfortunately, they're going to get up to 6 mana, and we're going to be in trouble because they're just going to continually wipe the board. I think I'm going to have to take the risk, though, that maybe they're going to stumble and not be able to hit 6 mana on turn 6. They're split up. That's a desperate split up, I think. That felt desperate. There's a land, though. So the chances of them not having a follow-up land, very, very, very slight. So let's not go too hard. I'm going to put out just... I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to keep the Dredger's Insight. I was thinking, okay, maybe I put something in the bin that I cannot exile one of those cards instead of but I think this is fine. I'm not going to put out the Cosmogoyf. Really need to find the repulsive mutation. If I can find a repulsive mutation in... Oh, I just realized something. The Dredger's Insight, yeah, is going to become a... Dread. I'll just put the Oculus. It doesn't matter. I don't think they're going to... they might have ult. Does Ultima destroys, it doesn't exile. I always get that wrong. It ends the turn, so it kind of seems like it exiles, but it doesn't. Need to find a repulsive mutation, though. That way I can put out a Cosmogoyf, have it on the field, and then probably be able to counter any board wipe that they have ready for us. Get lost. Okay. Okay. That's fine. That means I can turn up this other face-down Abhorrent Oculus. Ooh, a stuck up. Okay, okay, okay. So we're definitely getting in for at least 5 damage. Again, a repulsive mutation off the top probably means we win. I should get lucky once in a while. I can top deck a miracle card, right? Let's go, baby. It's not. Okay, I still think I'm turning this face up. I am going to attack in for 5. Because I'd rather hit for 5 than 2. And then with my remaining mana, part of me kind of wants to make sure the top of... Oh, I'm dumb. Call me dumb because I just missed at least 1 and maybe 2 points of damage here. That card's not going to be good enough. It feels so bad. Please don't hit my repulsives. Oh, 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 there were 2 of them. Yikes. So I think there's only 1 left in the deck. I don't think I've exiled the other one. Right? Spoke too soon, I suppose. So, no more counter magic. We have to fight through this without our creature land and without our repulsive mutations. And there's the Singularity Rapture. Hey, at least they're filling my graveyard for my Cosmogoyfs to go crazy. Okay. What are the chances that they have another board wipe? Very high? Very high. Okay, Cosmogoyf. I'll just put out 1. Maybe they spend a turn board wiping, and then I can do it again on the following turn. That's the prudent thing to do. Okay, we're also helping them. So we only have 12 cards left in our library. Day of Judgment! Okay. So this is where, again, I really, really wish I had my creature land, and hopefully they didn't have Get Lost to hit it. But that's kind of the situation that you get yourself into against a mill deck. Okay, well, we have a Cosmogoyf. It's presenting lethal. Counterspell? Okay, Cosmogoyf on the field. And this Overlord of the Baelmerk is also going to join the Cosmogoyf, so it's possible that this will be a good threat. And we have yet another Cosmogoyf to present a threat on the following turn. If they go wipe, 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 well, that'll be sad. No, just get lost. Now I'm really missing that 2 points of damage. If I had hit for 7 instead of 5, they would be at 7 damage, and this Overlord of the Baelmerk could potentially be representing lethal with the things that are underneath this. They're drawing 2 cards, desperately trying to end this game. But I mean, I can't even attack with the Baelmerk. If I attack with the Baelmerk, I'm going to be putting 4 more cards into my graveyard. I mean, I'm going to attack with my Baelmerk, but I shouldn't be doing it. Okay. They still have 6 mana available. Oh, yeah, that's boring. So they bounce my poor boy. And that, sure. I think I'm okay destroying the river region. Fine. And that, you know what? This is actually kind of good. I'm going to have to destroy one of these maps. It's fine. Because I couldn't put out a creature and then crack the maps, because then I would have had to put the token on I would have had to kill something. So we'll put that out, and then I don't want to play these cards, not right now, but by putting out the Awaken the Honored Dead by the 3rd chapter, it's possible that I can get back another Goyf. I'm kind of in dreamland right now, assuming that I'm going to live until that point. I have 10 cards left in my my deck, but they only have 2 cards. They have no way of drawing with what they have on the field. Let's see what they got. Is this Goyf gonna make it? Again, I don't have... Oh, it mills 3 cards. Ooh, it mills 3 cards. Okay. Attack with the Goyf. All of my cards kill me. And that's brutal. Oh no. Okay. Bitter Triumph. 1, 2, 3. I believe there's a Bitter Triumph left in my deck. I think there's still 1 left. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 Bitter Triumphs. They turn on that. We Rakshasas to go 4 deep out of 6. 4 out of 6. This is suicide, but I didn't see that they had the Restless Reef there. Creature lands always... Oh no, they have 2 Restless Reefs. No. Okay, I grab a Bitter Triumph. I grab a land. That's a tragedy. What a tragedy. Oh, it's a tragedy. So I now have... Okay, I mean, cool. They didn't double block. I guess I keep my Cosmogoyf alive. Sure. 2 cards left. I cannot do anything. The Awaken the Honored Dead next turn is going to let me bring something back from my graveyard. It's so futile, isn't it? I don't think it makes any difference, right? We're going to draw on this turn. Oh, I know I will have 1 extra turn, potentially. All right, the opponent stocked up, found 2 cards. Surely, among the 5 cards that they looked at, they're going to have something to deal with this Goyf. They also have their creature land there, and I have no way through that. They found a land, okay. 5 mana open. They put out an Authority of the Consul. I think that creature land is only 4 to activate, right? And they have exactly 4 mana open. Destroy target non-land permanent. Why did it have to be a non-land permanent? Okay, they're at 9 mana, so it has to be Goyf, or 9 life. The whatchamacallit doesn't get me there. Okay. So I can't do anything except attack in with the Goyf. It's going to get hit by the Reef. We're going to trade because it has Death Touch. And then I'm sad. There you go. Point. But we have another Goyf. The Goyf is tapped. I'm going to save the Awakened to the Honored Dead just in case they play out a Baelmerk. I cannot play either of these cards. I cannot touch this. There's a hole in my plan. I realize there's a hole in my plan. I'm milling myself. That's lame. He waited all this time to do that? All right. I don't feel so bad about that one. That one was kind of fun. So the last game actually looked like the deck was gonna do the deck's thing, and the opponent decided that they were not going to participate in this game of Magic, and they scooped it up and robbed me of my opportunity to do the cool thing. There's the Oculus, but I don't have any blue mana. I'm gonna throw it in the graveyard against my better judgment, but I think that's probably what is necessary because I need to dig to a blue mana source. A little bit of removal, but again, starting town tends to indicate these days creatures to me. Nope, we are playing against some artifacts this time around. And there's our Baelmerk. Okay, so Baelmerk good. Now I regret putting the... No, it's still fine. Oh yeah, no, what am I saying? Of course it's good. We get our Oculus back, but we still don't have blue source, and we put 2 of our blue sources into the graveyard. Not good. Hey, there's a blue source. Fine, Cosmogoyf, 0-1. How threatened are you, Kabuchi 7? I bet you're terrified. Will Kabuchi 7 try to like stasis stare or whatever that card is called? Are they going to get rid of it? What do you think? Star Cage for Goyf? That would be exciting. Okay, I think... What do I want to see off the top? Surveil Land? Not that. Not that. So, I could stab my Cosmogoyf. And, yeah. No, I think we'll put out Lazav. Lazav is 2 mana. Unfortunately, that used my blue source, so I can't even hold up the repulsive mutation. But we'll get Lazav onto the field, and then, I don't know, we'll go from there. Braided Net. Fine, they're going to be slowing down old wearer of faces. Surveil Land. No, we miss. Okay, we're doing this the hard way. We're going to awaken on the... What am I going to awaken? I don't know. I kind of want to hit the Clayfire Bricks because I think if they end up finding a repurposing bay, that Clayfire Bricks is going to be a lot worse for us. And you know what? We're going to assert dominance. We're going to attack in with the 0-1 Goyf. This time I'm not afraid to do it. Smack them for 0 and show them who's boss. We still only have 5 cards in our graveyard. But the Awaken is going to allow us to get out the Oculus next turn. We potentially now can get in for 8 damage. They're kind of a little bit struggling over there by the looks of things. 3 lands off the top. Whoa. Okay, let's do all of those use. Was that all lands? 6 lands? No, 6 lands, 5 lands, and a Bitter Triumph. Surely they're not playing counter magic now in these decks, are they? Oh yeah, and they still have the Braided Net because I didn't get rid of it. So they are going to net down the Cosmogoyf. It's fine, it is what it is. What? I should say what like that. Oh, okay, sure. It's an instinctive thing to be obnoxious and go, what? Well, hey, we get in for... Okay, let's get in for a little bit more. Yeah. I don't think I need to exile things from their graveyard. It is slowing me down, but I now have an Overlord of the Baelmerk on here, and I have a Lazav that can turn into an Overlord if they don't have a Spell Cage. If they have a Spell Cage, we're in trouble. But, okay. It's not huge trouble. It's minor trouble. Okay. Yeah, I still think it's fine. I kind of want to land. Really want to land off the top. A blue source. This gets me a blue source of land, actually. We miss it. Okay, yep. So we'll throw away the stab. It's very useless. And we will go get... Never mind. I exiled all of my lands because I'm a Giga Chad genius. That's the second time I've said Giga Chad tonight. I think I'm becoming delirious. Okay, they tap down the Overlord of the Baelmerk, so I suppose what I'm doing is I'm holding up the Repulsive Mutation, and then, yeah, did I need the stab instead of this Oculus? I'm not sure which one's better. I'm going to hold up the Repulsive Mutation and just pray that they are on a horrific draw. They're going to craft that. I have never done that. What does that do? So, Draw a card for each artifact you control. They're going to draw one card. And then they put the Braided Net onto the field. Draw a card for each artifact you control. Okay. Oh, I guess they draw two because it counts it as itself. An Authority of the Consuls is pretty good. Do I want to... Yeah, you know what? I don't want this thing here. Because if I put out the Abhorrent Oculus, it's just going to be annoying. I think I get rid of it. Wow. So if I put out Lazov, I have to use my blue mana. Okay. I think we just kind of tried to win with this Overlord of the Baelmerk with the Repulsive Mutation, build it up a little bit more. Put each card exiled. Okay. So they put out a bunch of robots. You know what? Sometimes opponents surprise you. They do stuff that you don't expect them to do. That very much falls in the category of, oh yeah, Starcage has a thing that it can do. There's our blue source. I kind of don't hate grabbing that. And then Strategic Betrayal. Fine. Put out an island. So I could attack in with the Overlord. I think it's probably fine to actually do this. So Strategic Betrayal, they have to exile one of these. Now they can't kill the Overlord. Start attacking in with the Overlord. And the question is, do I put out the Abhorrent Oculus? I think I do. Grab that. And thank you. Okie dokie. And now we can kind of do some pretty good damage to the opponent. They got to deal with a 5/5 and a 7/7, and now armies of 2/2s. And they have drawn surprisingly poorly. Okay, well, they have their way of dealing with that. We don't have any ways in... Oh, no, that's not true. We do have, what's it called? Awaken. That does get rid of any artifacts. I haven't... No, there's one. So destroy non-land permanent. We can get rid of the Perilous Snare if we need to. Okay. Let's put the pressure on. Attack in with this. We might be... You know what? I'm actually at a point where I'm not going to be attacking with the Baelmerk very much anymore. I'm 16 cards in the library. This deck definitely kind of runs itself dry. Boom, boom. And then I guess what it's going to be is Abhorrent Oculus. Or is it Cosmogoyf? I think it's Oculus because it's an air creature. Whatever. Just get rid of 6. And now they have to go through the mutation and muster up some defenses. What do you got for me, opponent? Braided Net. Braided Net's pretty good. It's not that good. Really? Really? Is that all they have? They're gonna craft with the... Okay. They're doing this in their second main. They're trying to draw something. What are they doing? This was a very confusing play for me. Cryogen Relic. Okay. Did they just decide that they were not going to be able to get through us? Whew, okay, what a weird game. Lots of weird games tonight. Hey, we had a 1920 Goyf that never managed to make the field, but that's pretty cool. All right, so that concludes Abhorrent Goyf. It is a fun deck. It is something cool. If you have the cards, I would highly recommend giving it a shot because I think creating big Goyfs with your Abhorrent Oculus is kind of a fun thing to do. But it is not a deck that you should be crafting. Unfortunately, Goyf is an underperforming card. It is just a little bit too honest. It is also too CMC, so it dies to a lot, and it gets hit by Starcage. So if you're playing best of one, you're going to see a lot of Starcage. Abhorrent Oculus, awesome card. Maybe you should have it in your collection because it is just super powerful, but also it is not really seeing much play. Playing this out honestly is really not the way you want to be playing this card in 2025 Magic, and that's exactly what this deck is setting out to do. This is a very honest Magic deck. But I think it is very fun, and I do like almost everything that's in the deck. I'm still not sold on Stab. I think Stab could probably be cut for something else. I'm also not entirely sold on the Dredger's Insight quite yet. I like it, but the deck kind of mills itself a lot. So having the Dredger's Insight and also having the Overlord of the Balemork allows us to dig quite deep in the deck, but I kind of like the Overlord of the Balemork more because if I have an Oculus or a Goyf or a Lazov in the deck, this still allows me to return a card from my graveyard. It says whenever this permanent enters or attacks, mill 4 cards, then you may return a non-land creature card or a planeswalker card from your graveyard. It doesn't need to be, as the condition here, among the milled cards to your hand. However, Dredger's Insight does let you go and get a land. The one thing that was missing from the one game when I really needed it was the Restless Cottage. I needed this card so desperately on my field when I was against the mill deck. Whenever you're running into a deck that doesn't it plays nothing but like board wipes, well, you kind of want to have some creature lands to be able to swing in after they board wipe you. Maybe going up a second creature land might be a good idea. The Demurrament land was in the deck at one point, but I removed it. Maybe I want to put it back in. I do like that I can return a creature or land from your graveyard to your hand with the Awaken of the Honored Dead. If we do end up milling the Restless Cottage or another man land, we can bring it back in those important matchups, but sometimes it just doesn't really work out that way. Now I'm thinking about that mill game. I wonder if I could have done that at some point. Doesn't really matter. Otherwise, I think a lot of the deck is pretty cool. It's possible that maybe the Repulsive Mutation is not the best counterspell to have in here, but I just kind of like this card a lot. Rakshas's Bargain is also sometimes a little bit awkward, but it is a very powerful card that is doing exactly what our deck wants it to do, so I like it a lot. Overall, the deck is a fun deck, and I hope you enjoyed watching some of these games. They actually ended up being kind of entertaining games for me just to play. I was having a good time, even though I think my win rate... Well, let me check my win rate. Win rate's sitting at 60% currently, 15 and 10. So over 25 matches. Okay, not too bad. Over the last bunch of games, I played... How many games tonight? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 of those games tonight, and only lost 6 of them. Okay, so we ended up with a positive win rate in the end playing this deck. I'm a little bit surprised by that because I felt like I was definitely losing a little bit more than that. So not too bad of a performance in the end. Maybe there's something cool here. I think maybe I was more judging not being able to do the cool Goyf thing often enough, and that felt like a loss to me. Anyways, love this card. I would love to see it in some other places. If you have some suggestions for this list and in ways that we can tweak it, love to hear them as always down in the comments. This one's been a long one. I didn't do any of the subscriber spiel stuff, so I guess I'll throw it in here. If you made it to this point, please do help me out. Subscription would be very helpful. Comments and what's the other thing? Bell? Do people bell? I don't know. Do whatever you want. But I would love to hear from you. Take care for now. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.